Hello, this is Jeff Bish, and welcome back to another Trades and Tutorials video. In this video, I'm going to look at where the Greek ETF might land if everything falls apart and where the opportunities are. And I'm also going to look at a couple of other country ETFs that are in much better shape so that, if the news is good, all of these things will have some opportunities. If the news is bad, the opportunities probably only get bigger. So before I get started, if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to our channel. And if you don't already know how to do it, please take a look at the lower right-hand corner of this video and you will find a way to change this video into HD. It's a lot clearer. I think you'll like it better. So, end of the week, we're going to have a meeting between the leaders of Greece and the IMF, and they're going to try and come to some agreement. Now, last weekend, they were trying to come to an agreement as well, and as you can see, the last 2 days have represented what the news described as big differences between the two sides. So Greece starts to slide. Now, the interesting thing here from my perspective is that I would say nobody really cares. There really isn't a whole lot of volume, and Greece is just kind of falling slowly. So there's a couple things we'll want to look for. Now, I know this is an ETF, so it's secondary volume, but you can see in these ETFs, if you get really extraordinary days, they often will mark significant highs and lows. Unfortunately, this was a significant high. Now, so if we get news and we get a really significant volume spike, then that will give you an indication that that probably is the low, especially if it does not follow through. But there's a couple places that I will look out for to be the low, with or without volume. So this low, when you're coming and you're forming a bottom, these prior swings, often neglected by traders, are where you can expect the market to stop. So the top of this bar is one area, and it's going to line right up with the bottom of this bar. Higher than that, you've got this bar. So if I put these lines in a more formal way, they're going to look like this. So you've got about the 1040 level, which is right about where we are. Then you've got about the 1009 level, and I would round that off to the 10 even, which is a big round number, another reason to look for it to stop there. And then you've got the actual low down here around 978. All right, so let's pull this down to the bottom of this. So let's call it 10, 1040, and then about 975. So those are the key levels you want to look for a reversal. What's a reversal? Well, the easiest form of a reversal to find, and the first one that you can easily spot, would be a close over the prior day's bar. This is just a classic looking bottom, in my opinion. You've really wanted, the market really wanted to bottom out here, and the news just kind of tried its patience. The next obvious thing for this thing to do would be to come down and test these levels and then reverse. So the quick trade is to look for any reverse really in this area with ultimately a stop below 978 target. I mean, if you think about it, if you're buying it down around $10 and 6 months from now you're trading at the 200-day moving average at 14, or let's say it even moves down to 13, you're talking about a 30% move there. So in my estimation here, you could buy it around 10, you could risk to say even 950, that's about 5%, and your upside is 30-40% or more looking out over time. We're really just waiting for the flush or waiting for a reversal, and that's how I would play Greece. Now, if you don't like to be a bottom fisher, there are some interesting other countries out there that are probably being dragged down by the same malaise that Greece is being dragged down by. So I'm not going to go over our whole product that does this, but I do want to point out, just because it's relevant to what we're looking at, we look at ETFs and we rank them by what we call TSI. It's Trend Strength Indicator. And the interesting thing here is you can see Europe as a category has all positive TSI with the exception of EWG, Germany, which is just negative, and Spain and, well, Greece. Now we know why Greece is negative, but all things considered, there's really only these two, Germany and Spain, that are negative. So all in all, as much as Europe is in a funk in the news, the country ETFs themselves are actually not doing so bad. And in fact, let's take a look at EWK here, which is actually in a bullish phase. And we'll take a look at Germany too, because this is another place I think you should look when the news, whatever it may be, on Greece comes out. You want to take a look and see where these things are situated, because that could be a turning point. I wouldn't chase it higher, however, I'd be careful. But if you can lean against these key reference points that I'm talking about, there's opportunities here. So EWG. Now I talked about EWG in a recent video, and my point there, my reference point there was this line, right? And we talked about it right here. I said, close above this. You want to see it continue higher. In fact, we got that pop higher. It happened too quickly to really take advantage of. And now we're right back down at the area that you'd expect it to have held, but for all intents and purposes, it really has held that area. I know it overshot it by a little bit, but from a technical point of view, if you look at things from the big picture, this is the 200-day moving average. This is the other swing low. This area in here is holding up. I won't say nicely, because it would have been better if this happened to be the low, but clearly between this 50-day moving average and 200-day moving average is where this thing is coiled. So to buy it near the bottom of the range would be even better, would be if it punches through the range to the downside and then reverses back up. That's what I would watch out for. I'd watch out for negative news pushing this down through this support and then it immediately reversing. And wherever that low is your stop. All right, so again, you're kind of picking a bottom here, but you're picking a bottom into support, and support on a number of different levels. The bigger, most important level from my point of view is that you're hanging right around these key price established areas of support. All right, now let's just take a look at a couple of other countries that are in dramatically different places, and that is EWK. This is the Belgium one that I just pointed out. This one's having a nice reversal off the 50-day moving average. So this one's just consolidating really nicely at a prior high. So if you don't like stuff that's getting totally beat up, here's one that doesn't seem to really care much about what's going on in Greece and looking rather healthy. So you might want to consider that if you want to expand your horizons. Another one that's interesting, it is not as strong as Belgium, but holding up nicely on its 200-day. And in addition to that, it's really a question whether or not this big base, you might even say head and shoulders bottom, which broke out, is this failing, or is it about to make its next move higher? I like the way that it held. The blue line is the 100. It bounced up to back up to the 50 and to this white resistance line, which is where you'd expect it to have some trouble. It's had some trouble. Now it looks like it's heading back up. If it gets back up through this line, then I think that this big bottom is going to turn out to be just that, a big bottom. Now, if all this coincides with some news in Greece, that would make it a really easy picture to look at and say, here are some great opportunities abroad. So don't let the Greece picture bring you down. In fact, let it bring everything else down, and take advantage of it. Hope that helps. I'll see you in the next video.